The Columbus City Council meeting for August 5th, 2024 will now come to order. In compliance with the Open Meeting Act, a copy of this is posted in this meeting room. Madam Clerk, would you please call roll?
Bulkley.
Here.
Alarcon. Barr.
Here.
Freshour. Hemer.
Here.
Jablonski.
Here.
Lopez. Here. Roth.
Here.
Schilling.
Here.
Mayor Bulkley, the roll has been called.
Thank you. Council President.
Our Father, thank you for the opportunity to serve our fellow citizens. Please give us your wisdom and guidance to make the proper decisions entrusted to this governmental body. May our conduct show respect, honor, and courtesy to each other, as well as to all our citizens. Amen.
Amen.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red blaze of bombs bursting in air came through the night. Their flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good evening. Welcome everyone to tonight's council meeting. If at any time during our council meeting this evening anyone in our audience would like to address the council, we'd ask that you come forward, give your name, your address, and we'd ask that you keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. With that, we'll move on to the consent agenda.
Item 4, consent agenda. The following items are considered to be routine by the City Council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless the City Council member or citizen requests, in which event the item will be removed from consent status and considered in its normal sequence on the agenda. Item 4A, minutes of the July 15th, 2024 City Council meeting. Item 4B, change of date to the first meeting in September from Monday to Tuesday, September 3rd, due to the Labor Day holiday at 6 p.m. Item 4C, reappointment of Ray Hayek and Larry Mares to the Board of Appeals for a 3-year term. Item 4D, reappointment of Chuck Whitney as a delegate to the Nebraska Cooperative Government Commission for a 1-year term. Item 4E, reappointment of Adam Yurkowski and Ron Schilling, the Council of Officials, and Charlie Barr, Board of Directors, to the Northeast Nebraska Economic Development District for 1-year terms. Item 4F, resolution number R24-83, continuing the Columbus-Platte County Enhanced 911 Service surcharge of $1 per month for each local exchange access line physically terminating in the 911 service area. Item 4G, resolution number R24-84, authorizing payment of various improvement projects. And item 4H, payroll and bills on file. Mr. Mayor and council members, is there anything you would like removed from consent?
Mr. Mayor, I move the items on the consent agenda be approved as presented.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Whoops, got ahead of myself there, sorry.
Positive thinking.
Motion passes. Brings us up to public hearings.
Item 7A, public hearing application from Quail Meadows LLC to rezone property located in the vicinity of South 14th Avenue and First Street from RR Rural Residential District to R1 Single Family Residential District and RR Rural Residential District to R2 Two Family Residential District, and to amend the future land use map of the comprehensive plan. The Planning Commission recommends approval.
Is there anyone here this evening to speak against this public hearing? Please come forward.
Hello, Joyce Lindstrom, 945 Lovers Lane. I've been here before to talk about the drainage issues by Quail Run there. And on your minutes from your last meeting, it says, city staff and advanced consulting engineering services were encouraged to continue working with the homeowners to ensure that proper drainage systems were in place for the new addition. And so far, nobody has been working with us. Just wanted to bring that to your attention.
All right.
I think I can
I was gonna-
preliminarily address that. I don't know that they'll work with you directly, but I know that our engineering staff and the developer's engineer have been working together on the issue. So if you have specific things you want to say to them that you haven't at a public hearing, you can always come to City Hall or have a conversation with us. But the two engineering groups are working together.
Okay, are they working with the homeowners adjacent to the property?
They're working with the property and the engineers between the city and the developer, as that's typical process.
Okay, we've brought up this drainage issue before, and it feels like you hear us, but you're not listening. We've talked to our council people, we've talked to the.
Nothing's happened yet. They're still engineering it.
I
So
know, but we wanna bring
they'll
it-
survey the area. Rick, do you have anything to add?
Yeah.
They've surveyed the area, they've surveyed the roadways to make sure whatever's installed does drain.
Okay, I'm just going off what was printed in your last minutes here.
Yeah, it's not complete yet.
That they're encouraged to work with us and nobody's,
Encouraged to work with advanced
or
consulting
continue
engineering.
to work with us and
Right.
nobody's
Okay.
done anything.
And like I said, if you have specific questions or comments, you can always reach out to somebody at City Hall.
Yeah, we've done that.
Rick,
A
have
lot.
you?
Do you have anything to add, Rick?
You're correct that we have met with Mr. Swigman of ACES, and I know he's putting the plan together, and I think, and I'm pretty sure that John was going to reach out to them at that stage, but until John gets the plans done far enough along, there's really nothing to discuss, but it's still in the works as far as I understand from Mr. Swigman.
Okay. We just don't want to get swept under the rug and then all of a sudden you say we didn't say anything, because we have for like the last 2 years.
Yep,
And
it's been a
longer.
slow-moving process,
And
and they're working together.
And then I think from what city engineers said, the engineering company is doing their homework, and when that homework gets far enough along that it means something substantial, they'll talk with you and show you and share it. I mean, there's nothing hidden here. It's a matter of having enough to talk to you about that makes some sense, and then have some back and forth dialogue.
Okay, I'm just going off what the minutes said
Well,
in the,
absolutely.
so just want to keep in contact with everybody and be a good neighbor to the new neighbors. Thank
Okay,
you.
You bet. Anything else? Anyone else?
Bill Green, number 2 Beaver Lodge Road, Columbus. Just one quick question, ladies and gentlemen. Is this going to be an open ditch drainage? Is that what is planned?
I think what they said is they're in the process of coming up with what that's going to be. I don't think I
they're
mean,
still-
what I heard Mr. Bogus say was they're putting the design together. So,
Okay.
I mean, to me, that means they probably are working on what that's going to be. Is that, I mean,
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, when I met with them a couple times, they're working on what that will be, so I don't really have the final plan to really tell you. But I know that he's looked at a lot of stuff, and maybe that's why it's a little later than probably what he wants it to be. He's making sure he's getting things in order.
One other question, maybe I'm out of line. the village, Vitality Village, is that a holding pond that they're building out there?
Well, that is something, Bill, that we can't answer. It's not part of the agenda item. I mean, we've got to stay in tune with what's on the agenda.
I'm sorry.
The agenda item is talking about Quail Meadows. So, I mean, you're more than welcome to ask that question
Sure.
anytime, but not under this heading.
Not under this?
Not under this heading.
Okay. Thank you, Mark.
Yep. Anyone else to speak against this hearing? Anyone to speak for this public hearing?
Mayor, move that the hearing be closed.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to close the public hearing. Any discussion?
Questions?
Yes, sir.
We're looking at rezoning it to 26 R2 units and 14 R1 units. And the picture that was with our paperwork shows that all the 14 R2, or I'm sorry, the 26 R2 units are in a row house. Just one long building. And none of the pictures of what we've got show any of that. Am I correct or am I messed up?
Good evening, Roger Nadrikal with NeighborWorks Northeast Nebraska, 2554 40th Avenue here in Columbus. The R2, there'll be townhomes, just like the pictures that you have before you. So starting on the left, lots 1 and 2, there'll be the common lot line there. So there'll be one unit on each lot. So
Okay.
it spreads across the lake.
And then
So they're not connected.
all right.
So they're
They're not connected like it shows in the picture.
they're individual.
Okay.
They're individual townhomes.
Right, it is not all one contiguous,
Right.
one
Okay.
contiguous building.
Yep.
There'll be 10 buildings on that.
Very good.
I think Councilman Barr's question was, it was one continuous
No.
roof line going all the way along. Okay.
There's one in that neighborhood going now that's that way, so that's why I was curious.
Sure, okay.
Very good, thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay. Okay, but I can't see that. Motion passes.
Item 7A1, ordinance number 24-18, approving the rezoning.
Mr. Mayor, move the rules be suspended and ordinance number 24-18 be read by number only.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to suspend the rules and read ordinance number 24-18 by number only. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay. Motion passes.
Ordinance number 24-18.
Mr. Mayor, move for the adoption of ordinance number 24-18.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt ordinance number 24-18. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay. Motion passes.
Item 7B, public hearing, Citizens Advisory Review Committee Semi-Annual Report of Activities in accordance with the Columbus Economic Development Plan.
Does anyone here to speak against this public hearing? Anyone here to speak for this public hearing? And I would just ask you to give a brief summary and maybe touch, one of our councilmen asked a few good questions, and maybe touch on those questions
Sure.
for the public.
The Citizens Advisory Review Committee is a committee of community members that oversees all the applications to the Columbus Economic Development Plan funds. So it's required by the plan that a semi-annual report be provided. That is this report. Attached to it is a fund balance report. The past 6 months, one loan application to the CARC was made, and that was actually for Quail Meadows, some Quail Meadows infrastructure. We now have the documentation that we were working to gather with the Quail Meadows LLC members. So that will come forward at a future city council meeting. The fund balance report shows 5 years up till the end of July, the activity. So you can see the revenues, our primary funding source for the Columbus Economic Development Plan is sales tax, and that is capped at $425,000 annually. Sales tax is ahead of pace, so we've already collected that $425,000 in this fiscal year. You can see all outstanding loans. I'm trying to remember, Mr. Roth, what your questions were. You had asked about the bad debt expense.
Repayment of
and the
DISTAR.
Repayment of DISTAR is complete. That's why that's why that line stops. Then the audit entry, that was because our auditors wanted to change loan repayments. The way we receipt those, we had shown them as cash, and they wanted us to show them as receivable. So it had no bearing on the cash, but that's why you see that audit entry there for those two audit entries. And then the bad debt expense was back in the early 2010s. The council made a loan to a cheese factory in the amount of around $110,000, if I'm not mistaken. This is before me, but I did deal with trying to collect that bad debt. The cheese company closed and they moved out of country. We did collect about $20,000, so that write-off is for the balance of that cheese producer that closed at $90,000. So that is the only thing that has gone wrong with the Economic Development Fund, but that's what that is. You can see there's a number of funds committed at the bottom of this balance sheet. So what we have, for the first time in a long time, we have a relatively low balance of unassigned funds. We've got a lot of activity going on, which is great. Any questions I can answer?
One further question concerns the Blazer LLC loan. In past years, it's been significantly more than the $6,700 shown. Has that loan been paid, or?
Correct. It's been paid off, that's why.
All right, thank you.
And the only thing I would add is, as you mentioned, this is capped at $425,000 from sales tax, which was sales tax approved by the voters
And this,
during that half-cent sales tax.
yes, and the voters approved this economic development plan as
That's right.
well.
And, sad to say, a cheese factory went stinky on us, and, and in all the years of having these, that is the only one that's been a bad deal. Any other questions?
Thank you, by the way, for your prompt response to my questions. I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
Any other questions from council? Anyone in the audience? All right, do I have a motion?
You have a motion?
No, we have to close the hearing.
No, I move to close the hearing.
We have a motion and a second to close this public hearing. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay. Motion passes. Now we need to
Reports of city offices.
report of city offices.
9A, update on the Nebraska Department of Transportation's project on 23rd Street. Mr. Bogus is going to give an update.
So in the last few weeks, you've seen a lot of white stuff, concrete on the ground placed, which is good. That's something you see above ground. A lot of that stuff was prior to that was happening below ground. But with that, then, of course, there comes changes. And so starting today and this week, there'll be a lot of travel changes. So today, we closed 30th Avenue, which is the Hy-Vee corner there. So you can't go out of that. They have to do paving, subgrade prep, things like that through that intersection. Come Friday, the 9th, 23rd Avenue will be open then to go through. Okay, so you can go through north-south on 23rd Avenue, but also on that 9th, 26th Avenue will close. So southbound 26th Avenue will close. You can still obviously go northbound, but when you get to the highway, you're going to have to turn left or right. So that's a big change, and of course, school starts on the 12th. So this happened on Friday the 9th, school starts on the 12th. So as far as like the middle school, for example, goes, 18th Avenue will be open going through, Pershing will be open to turn right like you did do anyway, and 23rd Avenue will be open to be 26th Avenue that will be closed at that point. Looking a little bit further ahead, at some point, they haven't really determined yet, what they'll do is they'll move traffic onto part of the new westbound lanes over between 16th Avenue and maybe about 23rd Avenue or 24th Avenue, I guess it'd be, or so. The idea is that they can finish doing the paving work from 26th to 31st on the westbound lanes, and then start to do the underground stuff between 16th Avenue and 18th Avenue on the eastbound lane. So you're going to have a little S-curve kind of in there a little bit, but that's kind of looking ahead. So a lot of changes, but as you can see, things are moving forward much faster now, and they are on track to get done by the winter, like they said, which is November. And again, at that point, all lanes will be open come November.
And then for the middle school people, the 28th Street reconstruction that was just north of the middle school, that will be open for school?
Yeah, so all of the streets are paved and all the driveways are paved and everything's paved now. So what they're working on now is sidewalks. And so, yes, the answer to that is, again, on the 9th, or maybe even that Saturday, the 10th, they'll get it all cleaned and opened up so all the traffic can go there. Hopefully all the sidewalks will be done. I don't know if that'll be the case, but pretty close. And so, yeah, I just talked to them today, and that's what their schedule is.
Awesome. Thank you. Any comments or questions from Mr. Bogus? All right. Thank you, Rick. Takes us up to new business.
Item 13A, application from the Friedhof Room at Schwazer's for special designated liquor license in Frankfurt Square at 2630 13th Street from 4 p.m. to 11:30 p.m. August 24th, 2024 for a concert.
Move the application be approved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the application from Friedhof Room at Schwazer's for special designated liquor license in Frankfurt Square, August 24th. Any discussion?
I have
Yes,
a
sir.
question for the chief.
Yes, sir.
Chief Scheer, could I ask you a question? Yes. You know you got to come up. You can. Nice try. We've done these special designated licenses for quite some time, both for the Friedhof Room, some others downtown, some on 11th Street, some on 12th Street. Have we really ever had any trouble?
No, we
Okay.
have not.
Good.
Matter of
Excellent.
fact, when I got back from my Alaska trip, I asked the captains, we had that street dance downtown,
Mhm.
and asked them if they had any issues, and we had none.
Wonderful.
So there was nothing. We haven't had any problems with any of these special designated liquor license requests.
Very
Excellent.
good.
Thank you. I see no reason to turn them down now. Thank you, Chief.
Thanks, Chief.
Any other questions?
Did you, Troy, for the chief or just in general? Good. Thank you, Chief.
Okay, thank you.
My question was, when they put stakes and stake out the fence, do they drive stakes into the ground? They put up cones? What do they do? I mean,
I don't know exactly, but I know Parks always works with them because they're concerned about their irrigation lines and
That's-
things
that
like
was my
that. So
question.
I'm not exactly sure what they do, but they're very careful. They work with them on those sorts of things, so they're not damaging any of our infrastructure.
and another question, the garbage, is that something that they haul away, or is that something that the city has to take care of?
They'll take it.
No, I
They'll
think
take
they-
care
yeah,
of
they
that?
do.
And I would assume we charge if they don't?
Yeah, there would be a cleanup fee, I'm sure.
I guess the other thing I would mention is maybe when new rate fees come about, maybe we should think about something a little different than $36 for Frankfurt Square. I think that's a little cheap for somebody else to make money off of. And the city basically, you know.
Good thought.
Yeah, I think that's not all parks. I know some parks, we rent out the Pawnee Park shelters and things like that, but those are for a private party and not for an endeavor to make money. So, something to think about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Appreciate the comment. Any other discussion? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 13B, quote from Downey Drilling Incorporated in the amount of $32,400 for well 18 CCTV inspection, survey, and screen repair for water production.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the quote from Downey Drilling Incorporated for inspection, survey, and screen repair be accepted. Second.
We have a motion and a second to accept the quote from Downey Drilling, Inc. for the CCTV inspection survey and screen repair for water production. Any discussion? Yes, sir.
Question for Mr. Sleva. You talk about mobilization and per diem, and you got that down at $1,500. And then the next line is, that is dependent on splitting mobilization with another municipality. Is that $1,500 the full price, or is that the half?
No, that'll be split. Actually, when you read through that, the mobilization's 20,000, because it's a specialized
bottom.
company coming in to do the patchwork and repair screen work.
So
So that actually would be 60,000 alone just for that service, but we're splitting it with two other communities besides us, so.
So the one that says mobilization and per diem is just per diem,
That's just to bring
basically?
their equipment in and do their first phase of the inspection and the camera work.
They're doing the camera work,
Yeah.
they're not doing the repair.
No.
Yeah, okay.
Very good.
All right, any other comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor signify by aye, those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 13C, comments from the mayor and city council members in compliance with the Open Meetings Act. No discussion may be held on this item.
Do we have any comments from council members this evening? Yes, sir, Mr. Dwosky.
Couple items related to Columbus Days. Tonight, we're coordinating the newest King and Queen Isabella and King Ferdinand, Casey Baylitz and Katie Kloss. Thursday morning at 6:30 will be the Columbus Prayer Breakfast. We've lined up some wonderful singers, Mr. Schilling, and his friends, and a really nice speaker that's going to present his some thoughts on being an American. And last of all, there was a last-minute item that the parade has been moved to 2 o'clock, so hopefully everybody will show up for the 2 o'clock parade. But hopefully we're going to have nice weather and celebrate all the good things that Columbus has been doing.
Thank you.
I also heard that Santa was maybe even going to come down.
Santa, wow, that's
Talking
good.
about it, yeah.
It's an early
I hope he
show
wears
this
his shorts, you know.
For the Friday night or the Sunday parade? Sunday.
Any other comments? All I would add is remember that our blue and our red are competing with each other for goodies to be given that are needed.
right,
And
that's right.
I think that wraps up tonight or tomorrow, maybe? Tonight or tomorrow, whenever Matt decides it's time to have them count their goodies. And the winner will get the opportunity to put a pie in my face. So we'll see who decides to win that. All right, we'll move on to resolutions.
Item 14A, resolution number R24-85, renewing the commercial operator agreement with Air Methods Corporation for a 3-year term.
Mr. Mayor, I move that resolution number R24-85 be adopted.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number R24-85. Any discussion?
For purposes of the public, who or what is Air Methods? What do they do, and how do they utilize our airport?
They're a medical air provider, medical air services provider, and they occupy one of our nicest hangars out there. Their rent is adjusting to $3,300 a month.
Thank you.
It's currently $3,000 a month.
They're basically one of the helicopters that takes you where you needed when you might be needed. Okay?
They've been utilizing the airport for 3 years.
Correct.
at
Yes,
least.
yes.
Was there anything prior to that?
I think there's always been Troy might have a better idea on this. There's always been something, but I'm not, Air Methods hasn't been here that
No.
long. It's been this 3-year term.
Previous to that, there was Midwest Med Air. Before that, there was not an air service. They flew out of either Grand Island, Omaha, Lincoln, or Norfolk.
Thank you.
All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay. Motion passes.
Item 14B, resolution number R24-86, approving and accepting the Safe Streets for All grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation, Federal Highway Administration to develop a comprehensive safety action plan.
Mr. Mayor, I move that resolution number R24-86 be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number R24-86. Any discussion? I think it's prudent to say that we take some federal government grant money and look to put together a safe street program that will allow us to be in line for some possible money that'd be available for improvements and other things. So,
Right, the Safe Streets for All grant is part of the group of grants put out by the federal government. We applied some time ago, and we're one of only a few municipalities in Nebraska to receive the grant. So this is the planning phase, and once we get the plan done, then we'll go to implementation phase, and it will open up the city to receive a lot of federal dollars, hopefully. So we're ahead of the curve.
appreciate it. Any other comments? Seeing none, we have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay. Motion passes.
Item 14C, resolution number R24-87, approving the grant application to the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission for the Loop River Bridge Trail.
Mr. Mayor, I move for the resolution number R24-87 be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number R24-87. Any discussion?
Maybe we should have some explanation, if Tara can.
Okay, we've been asked for, give a rundown on what we're looking at here, please.
So when the Nebraska Department of Transportation replaces the bridge, the old bridge that's going over the Loop River with the metal structure up above it, they are going to add a trail on the side of it that would connect to Pawnee Park and eventually trail systems to the south. So that was part of our discretionary capital improvement project list, and it was actually ranked the highest of all discretionary projects. So since the council feels strongly that this should move forward, the staff, our team is going to start working on gathering grants, and the Nebraska Game and Parks Commission is opening up their trail grants for the year. So we're requesting authorization to apply for grant funding from the Game and Parks.
And if you don't apply, you're not in the running.
Right.
Right? All right. Any other discussion? All right, we have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by aye, those opposed nay. Motion passes.
Item 14D, resolution number R24-88, accepting a rural business development grant from the U.S. Department of Agricultural Rural Development to provide educational classes to local business owners.
Mr. Mayor, I move that resolution number R24-88 be adopted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt resolution number R24-88. Maybe just like before, just give a brief
Sure.
explanation.
Jean can give a better explanation of this one.
Other than me just saying it's great, this is a grant night. I mean, we're into grants. We're into grants.
Jean's been doing a great job.
This is a grant that I applied for on behalf of the Business Improvement Development District. They wanted to create an education series for our area businesses to either help them start a business or to grow their existing business. When we originally wrote the grant, we wrote it for 12 different classes, one per month. Because of funding restrictions and that kind of stuff, we were only awarded a fourth of what we asked for. And so we will be doing 4 classes in a year period of time, once a quarter, bringing in area experts or, to assist with marketing, business plans, those types of things, just to provide education.
Okay, thank you. Any questions for Jean? All right. We have a motion and a second to approve. All those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Item 14E, resolution number R24-89, approving the amendment to the design-build agreement with BD Construction Incorporated for the Vanberg Pro Shop renovation project.
Mr. Mayor, move for the adoption of resolution number R24-89.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve resolution number R24-89. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor signify by aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion passes. That takes care of our meeting this evening. Meeting adjourned. We will be adjoining. We'll be starting our community development meeting shortly, as soon as we can get ready.